What happens when your state starts falling apart faster than an overcooked souffle? In 2025, some states are losing people, opportunities, and stability at record speeds. And no, it's not just because of bad weather or politics. From skyrocketing costs to crumbling infrastructure, these states are in a downward spiral that has residents rushing for the exit. Today, we're diving into the 10 fastest collapsing states in the U.S., ranking them from bad to downright alarming. Whether it's high taxes, job shortages, or sheer frustration, these states are giving people plenty of reasons to move on. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more engaging content. Let's take a look. Number 10, Hawaii. Hawaii is paradise on paper, but in 2025, it feels more like an overpriced vacation you can't escape. With a cost of living that's 80% higher than the national average, many residents are barely scraping by. Housing prices are outrageous, groceries cost a fortune, and even a gallon of milk can set you back $12. The job market isn't helping either, with most opportunities tied to the tourist industry or low-paying service jobs. Residents are often forced to work multiple jobs only to see their paychecks eaten up by high costs. Meanwhile, island fever sets in, with many feeling stuck and unable to afford the flight out. Supply chain issues continue to plague the state, driving up costs even further and making essentials harder to come by. Efforts to address homelessness have made headlines, but they haven't been enough to stem the tide of people leaving. Hawaii's population is projected to shrink by 0.29%, and for many, the dream of paradise is officially over. Sure, the sunsets are incredible, but when your wallet feels emptier than your fridge, even the views lose their charm. Hawaii might still be a top destination for tourists, but for residents, the grass is greener on the mainland. It's a beautiful place, but the cracks are starting to show. Number 9, Oregon. Oregon used to be a hotspot for dreamers and adventurers, but in 2025, it's becoming a place people are fleeing. Housing costs have skyrocketed, especially in Portland, where even modest homes feel like a luxury purchase. Meanwhile, income taxes and added local levies, like the Metro tax, have squeezed residents dry. Portland, once a symbol of progress and creativity, is now grappling with rising homelessness and crime. Public transportation, like the once proud Max Light Rail, has become overcrowded, unclean, and a source of daily frustration for commuters. Outside the city, wildfires continue to devastate rural communities, turning forests into ash and air quality into a health hazard. In smaller towns, economic growth remains stagnant, with few opportunities to lure people back or keep them from leaving. Wildfire seasons have grown longer, making summers a smoky, stressful ordeal for many residents. Oregon's population is expected to drop by 0.29% in 2025, a sign that the state's charm isn't enough to outweigh its challenges. Despite its breathtaking landscapes, Oregon is becoming less livable for its middle class and working residents. Whether it's rising costs or growing frustration, people are packing up and heading elsewhere. The trailblazing spirit seems to be leading straight out of the state. Number 8, Alaska. Alaska, the last frontier, is seeing its population shrink faster than its glaciers in 2025. The state's economy, heavily reliant on oil, continues to face setbacks with declining production and fewer jobs. Meanwhile, the high cost of living is enough to make even the hardiest residents consider warmer pastures. From heating bills to groceries, everything costs more in Alaska, with some essentials doubling in price compared to the lower 48 states. Add to that the isolation. Flights are expensive, and many rural areas still struggle with basic internet access. For families, this lack of connectivity means fewer opportunities for education and remote work. Harsh winters, long nights, and rising mental health concerns are making life even tougher for Alaskans. Seasonal depression rates remain high, and without proper healthcare funding, many residents are left without the support they need. Alaska is expected to lose 0.39% of its population in 2025, a blow to an already sparse state. Even with its stunning landscapes, the challenges of living in Alaska are outweighing the rewards for many. It's a place for adventurers, but when adventure turns to adversity, people are ready to leave. Alaska's frontier spirit is fading as the harsh realities set in. Number 7, New York. New York might be the Empire State, But in 2025, it's losing its grip as people flee its high costs and frustrations. Housing remains a massive issue, with rent in New York City hitting record highs. A $3,500 monthly rent for a shoebox apartment is no longer shocking. It's expected. Upstate New York isn't faring much better, with struggling industries and stagnating economic growth in cities like Albany and Syracuse. High taxes add insult to injury, leaving residents wondering where all their money is going. While some areas have seen improvement in infrastructure, it's not enough to stop the outflow of residents. Safety concerns are creeping up again, with crime rates ticking higher in certain areas, adding to the stress of daily life. Meanwhile, remote work has made it easier for professionals to leave the state without giving up their careers. With a projected population decline of 0.3%, New York is struggling to balance its allure with its challenges. While the city's lights might still shine brightly, for many, the cost of keeping them on is just too high. New York is a state of opportunity, but those opportunities are becoming harder to find. The empire is cracking, and residents are looking for greener pastures. Number 6, Alabama. Alabama is losing people faster than you can say roll tide in 2025, and it's not just because of the weather. The state's job market remains limited, with few opportunities outside of manufacturing and agriculture. Younger residents are leaving in droves, looking for tech jobs and better salaries elsewhere. Education is another glaring issue, with Alabama ranking near the bottom in national education rankings. For families, the lack of quality schools makes it a tough place to build a future. Healthcare access is also a struggle, with rural areas facing severe shortages of doctors, nurses, and facilities. The state's charm and low cost of living can't compete with the lack of upward mobility and opportunity. Even in larger cities like Birmingham, job growth is lagging behind other southern states. Alabama's population is predicted to drop by 0.35% in 2025, a clear sign that more people are seeking opportunities elsewhere. While the heart of Dixie has its appeal, the reality is pushing residents to neighboring states with better prospects. Alabama's struggles are deeply rooted, and without major changes, the exodus will continue. It's a state rich in culture, but poor in opportunity. Number 5, Louisiana. Louisiana may have Mardi Gras and some of the best food in the country, but in 2025, it's also losing residents at a staggering rate. Coastal erosion is swallowing land faster than a crawfish boil, with nearly 40 square miles disappearing every year. Add the constant threat of hurricanes and flooding, and it's no surprise people are heading for higher ground. The state's economy isn't doing much to keep people around, with a median income that's $7,000 lower than the national average. Poverty rates are stubbornly high, hovering near 19%, leaving many residents struggling to make ends meet. Even the state's educational system ranks at the bottom nationally, offering little incentive for families to stay. Infrastructure issues compound the problem, with crumbling roads and outdated systems making daily life more challenging. While Louisiana's culture is rich and vibrant, the lack of opportunity and constant natural disasters are driving residents away. The state is expected to lose 0.44% of its population in 2025, a trend that shows no sign of slowing. For all its charm, Louisiana feels like a losing bet for many of its residents. The promise of safety, stability, and opportunity elsewhere is proving too tempting to resist. The bayou might still call to tourists, but for locals, it's become harder to justify staying. Number 4, Mississippi. Mississippi might boast southern hospitality, but in 2025, it's struggling to hold on to its population. The state consistently ranks near the bottom in healthcare, education, and income, making it an unattractive option for those seeking stability. High poverty rates and low wages leave many residents feeling stuck in a cycle of financial struggle. Affordable housing is one of the few bright spots, but even that isn't enough to offset the lack of job opportunities. Infrastructure is another major concern, with poorly maintained roads and limited public transportation making daily life more difficult. Severe weather, including hurricanes and occasional tornadoes, adds to the reasons people are leaving. Mississippi's cultural heritage is rich, but it's not translating into modern opportunities for its residents. Younger generations in particular are moving to states with better prospects for careers and education. With a projected population decline of 0.51%, Mississippi's challenges are becoming too much for many to bear. Despite its affordable cost of living, the state's lack of progress is driving an exodus. Mississippi has potential, but without significant investment in its people and infrastructure, it risks falling further behind. The Magnolia State is wilting under the pressure. Number 3, West Virginia. West Virginia, once the heart of the coal industry, is facing one of the steepest declines in 2025. The state's economy has struggled to adapt as coal demand continues to shrink, leaving fewer opportunities for residents. While ecotourism is on the rise, it's not enough to replace the economic stability that coal once provided. Education and healthcare are ongoing challenges, with the state ranking near the bottom in both categories. Mountainous terrain makes building infrastructure difficult, isolating many communities and limiting connectivity. Even with recent efforts to expand broadband access, West Virginia still lags behind much of the country. The state's natural beauty is undeniable, but it's not enough to keep residents from leaving. Younger generations are particularly affected, with many moving to other states for better education and job prospects. With a projected population loss of 0.6%, West Virginia is losing more than just people. It's losing its future. For all its scenic landscapes, West Virginia feels stuck in the past, unable to keep up with modern demands. Residents are looking elsewhere for opportunities, leaving the mountain state to face an uphill battle. Without major changes, the decline will only accelerate. Number 2, California. California, the Golden State, is tarnishing as residents continue to leave in droves in 2025. Skyrocketing housing costs are the biggest culprit, with the median home price hovering around $800,000. Even renting feels impossible, with $3,000 barely covering a one-bedroom apartment in many cities. Taxes are another pain point, with California boasting the highest income tax rate in the nation at 13.3% for top earners. Combine that with the rising cost of utilities, groceries, and gas, and living in California feels more like a luxury than a necessity. Wildfires, blackouts, and worsening traffic only add to the frustrations of daily life. While the state is still a hub for innovation and entertainment, the cost of participating in that lifestyle is driving people away. Many are moving to neighboring states like Texas, Arizona, or Nevada, where their dollars stretch further. With a projected population loss of 0.33%, California's struggles are a warning sign for even the richest states. Despite its reputation as a land of opportunity, California is pricing itself out of reach for the average resident. The dream of sunny beaches and Hollywood lights is fading as reality sets in. For many, the Golden State has lost its shine. Number 1, Illinois. Illinois takes the top spot as the fastest collapsing state in 2025, with financial woes and outmigration crippling its progress. The state's ongoing pension crisis has left taxpayers footing an ever-growing bill, leading to some of the highest property taxes in the nation. Residents in cities like Chicago are also facing rising costs, crime concerns, and infrastructure that's in desperate need of repair. The job market isn't faring much better, with many industries relocating to more business-friendly states. Younger professionals are moving to places with better opportunities and lower tax burdens, leaving Illinois with an aging workforce. The state's budget woes are a constant source of tension, making it difficult to invest in improvements. Chicago, the state's economic engine, is losing residents as its crime rates and high living costs drive people to the suburbs or out of state entirely. Outside the city, rural areas are struggling to attract new industries, leading to stagnation and decline. Illinois is projected to lose 0.7% of its population in 2025, the steepest drop in the country. For all its history and cultural significance, Illinois is struggling to hold on to its residents. The exodus shows no sign of slowing, and without major reforms, the state's challenges will only deepen. Illinois might still be the land of Lincoln, but in 2025, it's also the land people are leaving behind. That's today's video, folks. If your state made the list, let us know in the comments. What's the biggest challenge where you live? And if you're thinking about moving, there are plenty of places to consider, just maybe not the ones we've covered today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out one of the suggested videos popping up now. Thanks for watching, and as always, be nice to each other.